morning, everybody. This is Wednesday. I am your host, Trish Carr, filling in for Nancy Matthews, who is on the road and who will be back in the beginning of April. So I am so glad that you took the time to be here with us today, whether you are on the telephone, you are on our podcast on Facebook, or you are here with us directly. I am so excited today for our conversation. This is going to be a little bit of a different conversation because SaVeda Beswick is an amazing woman. Let me tell you a little bit about her and our conversation today. She is the visionary breakthrough strategist. She's the CEO and founder of Sisters with a Vision. And the mission of Sisters with a Vision is to provide education and support to young single mothers, young men, married couples, and their families worldwide, guiding them toward a financially free life through God's principles. So the deal here is to be financially free, and SaVeda knows that her faith has gotten her to that point, and she supports other people in doing the same. So SaVeda, I'm so happy to have you with us today.
Yes, I'm excited to be here as well. Thank you for the invitation.
Yes, so glad. So SaVeda, how did you get into, I know that you started Sisters with a Vision back in 2018, which is 6 years ago now.
Yes.
So tell us, how did it come about?
Well, I was actually sitting at a bishop and his wife's home, and it was around right before Mother's Day. And so this happened in April, when I was sitting at their kitchen table, and they had wanted me to speak at the women's event, and I declined. And I had my reasons of declining. And so as we were sitting, and I said, well, I will be the mistress of ceremony. I will uh, introduce everyone and, all that stuff. But as far as speaking, I had declined. And so as we were sitting together, me and the pastor's wife and one of the other sisters that was there, we were putting together the program. And all of a sudden, I just heard the word Sisters with a Vision, because that's what we were doing. We had a vision and we were sisters and we were sitting together.
Right.
And so when it downloaded in me, I was like, well, let's, name this Sisters with a Vision. And so one of the sisters, Renee, she gave the acronym of SWAV, which stands for Sisters with a Vision in short. And so from there, I felt like the Lord was telling me, to add that to the business, because I had the home care agency already, which I really didn't know what I was doing when I stepped out. And so Sisters with a Vision is the umbrella of anything that will come after that. And so even though I had the home care agency first, but it falls under Sisters with a Vision because that was part of my vision. And I didn't have the clarity all at the moment, and so as the years went on, more clarity came to me and what it was that I needed to do with women, with sisters, because I'm the only child with my mom and my dad, and I have siblings that he created, afterwards, but just me, I didn't have that at home. And so being around other sisters that are authentic and that, that love one another, because I didn't have that. And so this is where Sisters with a Vision came from.
That's so wonderful. Here, like, same thing here at Women's Prosperity Network. We're all sisters and we really feel it.
Yes.
Really feel it. So how did you get into working with people and their finances?
So the whole story was back in 2017. Les Brown was the one that actually pushed me forward to share my story. And so I didn't have the confidence, I didn't have the self-esteem to really do this. And I did not know how to form everything. And so I was in debt from school. I had student loans, and I can remember 27 years of, praying, Lord, get me out of this financial,
Wow.
debt situation. Um, and then it was my house. Those was the only two debts that I had. And I never owned a credit card or any of those things until a couple of years ago. And so being able to understand, especially when you're young, and I didn't understand about, um, applying for financial aid and credit cards and all that. What I saw was my grandmother being a business owner. She owned a bar and a restaurant, and she was my very first banker. I'm the oldest in the grandchildren. And so I can remember working for her and her putting our money inside of an envelope. And so she would always say, if you took something out, you needed to write it down and you needed to do A, B, and C. So she only had the basics when it came to money handling. And so when I got into the financial debt, of course, my credit score had went down and all. I didn't understand about credit score. I didn't know any of that stuff.
Well, I mean,
Um,
you're not alone. They don't teach those things in school. Nobody knows
no,
what their credit score is supposed to be until you actually put some attention on it. And you don't put attention on it until you're either going to buy a house or you have to get a loan. You don't know. And
yes.
then it's too late and you have to build it again.
Yes, and that was my situation right there. And so, I tell anyone, ignorant truly is an bliss. If you don't have the knowledge of that, and especially if it's not taught in your household, you're going to have to learn. So I had to learn these things, and I'm still yet learning. I allowed the Lord to show me different things that when it came to spending and all that. And so I got tired of being denied. And
Yeah.
at first, I walked around because I was young. I was in my 20s and I had still yet that I don't care attitude. I
Hmm.
didn't know God at the time like I know him now. And so it was like, okay, well, if my credit is bad, who cares? Can't nobody steal anything from me and this and that and the other. It just stay that way. And I did not know how important that it was, for me to have the credit and understanding, you know,
I think SaVeda broke. There you go.
and it was like, oh my God, I'm getting denied for things and I didn't like it. And so he put me in a situation where I was in a group, which was financial education services, where I learned, and then World Financial Group, where I was learning certain things on how to be a better manager, a better steward. And so um, just within the last several years, it was like, okay, I know I'm not the only one, as you said,
Right.
out here and alone. And so, but I realized that money is such a topic that people don't want to really talk about because it's so personal.
Right.
And, you're embarrassed, you're ashamed. And it's like, well, no, you just didn't know, you know what I mean? And once you come from out of that shame and that guilt, and open yourself up to learning, you'll receive.
And that's a big, big problem that you just hit on there is that when our credit is low, when we're not able to buy the things we want, when we feel like we're being held back, we have shame around it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we have shame around, speaking for myself, when I was stupidly putting money into an investment that turned out to be a Ponzi scam,
Mm,
I felt ashamed. I was like, how stupid am I? How did I not know that this money was going to go out the window?
mm-hmm.
So, dealing with how you're feeling about it doesn't really make you want to talk to people and get help either,
Right,
right?
right.
So you're working with people who kind of don't even want to talk to you about it. So I know
Yes,
that, one of the things you did was put on your spiritual armor so that
yes.
you could shield yourself from that negativity, so that you could step out of the shame. And so, what was it? How did that happen for you? Because, you were in a tough place. So, how did you transform how you were feeling and what you were doing?
So basically, everything. that we share with anybody, it always starts with us first. And so, like I said, I would pray and I would just ask God to show me, how to be a better steward. And then I had to learn to forgive myself, for having that mindset. And so basically, it started where I needed to transform my mindset and to renew my mind. And so I started, reading the scriptures and, asking the Lord to show me, which he began to show me. And he said, if you want good success, I need you to meditate in my word. I need you to stay before me and I will show you, I will guide you and I will lead you. And so basically, the guilt and the shame started lifting off because of the fact that it was like, okay, this was something that I didn't know as a child growing up. And, I could blame everyone, but also it was like, what can I do for myself to get myself from out of this, And so I didn't put myself down. It was like, okay, me renewing my mind is just like going to school, sitting in the classroom and listening to a teacher share, something about science or history. Well, I looked at the Holy Spirit being my teacher and teaching me how to, spend my money wisely, how to, even save. But then it seemed like every time when I was trying to do these things, the more it seemed like stuff kept happening. And so it was like, okay, Lord, I need like a breakthrough. And
Yes.
so he basically, kept showing me this is what you have to do and stay on it. So I always kind of knew that finances, because that was the challenge that I always had. It was always with money. And so, it was like, man, every time, how you have a bag and then it might get wet and then it might get a hole in the bottom, or you got
Mm-hmm.
pockets and it got
Yep.
holes in it and you put money in there and then all of a sudden you go in your pocket and then it ain't there no more. It's because it fell out. Well, the Lord was showing me, he said, it's like you have a spiritual hole that needs to be sealed up because you keep losing it. And why? And so I had to, dig a little bit more and to find out, and some things are spiritual and then some things are natural. And it was like, well, Lord, I'm trying to do my best here. And why does it seem like I keep losing or things keep happening where, like you were saying about the Ponzi scheme, and it seemed like I kept getting scammed and this and that and the other. And so it just made it where I had stopped trusting, you
Mm.
know. And so it was like, you know what? I need to build this myself, because unfortunately, man, they have two different sides. They have the good and they have the evil. And some people, when they get thoughts in their brain, they will operate, in such a way to try to get themselves ahead, but they use other people to do it. And I
Yeah.
didn't want that. It was like, I want, people to know that, if you want to be educated and learn financial literacy, because I know what I went through and I dare not treat anyone else like that and do them the way how I was done because I didn't like it. And so that was part of um, me being able to share. So this was back in 1995 or SaVeda. When you get free, you go back and help your brothers and sisters. Well, I didn't know all of what that meant until me walking this journey, of life and being able to talk to other young women, especially those that, are in their 20s and, 30s, and some even older than that,
Well,
that
right,
need
because we
financial
don't,
assistance,
yeah, because
that
we don't
need
get
education.
educated.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Mhm.
We don't get educated. So we could be 35 or 45. It doesn't even matter. So
Yes.
the fact that you're working with younger people, brava, because I got my first credit card when I was like 18 years old.
Hmm.
Discover sent me a little thing, said you can have a credit card with a $200 limit. I was like, $200?
Right.
I'll
Back then,
take
that's a
it.
lot.
It was, but for me, it was like, now I have a credit card and who knows? So I love the first thing you said is when you want to get your act together, especially in finances, you've got to renew your mind. And that's
Yeah.
because your mind does everything. So if you have a belief that money doesn't come to you easily, or every time you get it, you spend it like you have a hole in your pocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then that's renewing your mind. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the ways to do that is to tap into whatever your faith is, whether it's the universe, God, Allah, whatever you call it, that greater than yourself power.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that's the universe. And I believe that every day the universe is lining up to support me, just like you believe that God
Mm-hmm.
is lining up to support you. It's the same thing. And
Mm-hmm.
when you believe that, and you take steps, because that's the
Yes.
next thing, SaVeda, is
Yes.
taking the steps. So
Mm-hmm.
where do you guide people to go to? So you work on their mindset, and then what's the next step for younger people or even anybody who's in debt? Where do you go from that?
So basically, I have a course that I have, and so and I teach from the like the basics, the foundation, and it's like, okay, let's get rid of what did you grow up with? How did you grow up? What did you hear about money that was negative? And then, just like you were saying, God is the creator of the universe. And so he created day and night, right? And so here it is. He had to give the night, the moon a name, which we, talk about night. And then the daytime, we talk about the sun. Well, when you are in a financial situation, and I was telling someone a few weeks ago, I said, when the scripture says that the love of money is the root of all evil, I
Right.
said, Mm-mm. I said, what came to me is the lack of money is the root of all evil. Because if we talk about the universe, we talk about God being abundance, then we should be speaking like in abundance. So if you have a lack, then you say, Lord, I thank you that I am no longer in lack, but I am in abundance. So it's like you have to change your language. And, it takes time, especially, for you to transition your mind and to renew it daily, because them thoughts, they'll come up, even though you're speaking, life, and you're speaking something to yourself. But those thoughts that come to your mind, you have to bind those negative thoughts up and speak life. And so I just started speaking, positive things. And then when the flow stopped, I had to check myself and see where did something pop up. And I just allowed it to stay there and not, you know, release and not and to get rid of it. And so it's just like when the stream of water is coming down, you know, and you have big boulders, and the boulders, it can, slow the force of the water. Well, it's the same in the spirit. If you have something that's blocking, you have to know what these blockages are and get
Mm,
rid of them.
yeah, and I think what I hear you saying too is the awareness. It's
Yes.
like we don't even aren't even aware of it. So I was working on my lack mentality a while
Mm-hmm.
back. And I'm thinking I'm doing this great job and I'm all about abundance and I have all the
Mm-hmm.
right affirmations. Money comes to
Right.
me equally and easily and frequently. I'm using all my
Mm-hmm.
affirmations. But in those other small places in my life, I didn't realize how lack was showing up and it was
Mm-hmm.
affecting money. So, for
Yes.
example, something really simple. I'm sitting on the beach with my girlfriend, Wendy Watkins. Hi, Wendy.
Mm-hmm. Hi,
And
Wendy.
in front of me is this cute little girl who has found all these great shells. And she
Mm-hmm.
was making a design on the sand with the shells. And as I walked past and I looked at them, I went, oh, look at that shell. That's so beautiful. So I go in the water and I come back. And when I come back, the little girl was gone. And I sit in my seat and I say to Wendy, did you see those shells that she had? I'm going to go and get that shell that I really want right now. And she goes, you don't have to go right now. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
look how many shells there are on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to rush to get that one shell.
Right.
It's going to be yours if it's meant to be yours. You don't have to worry about it. And she said to me, you probably don't see that that's a lack mentality. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, yeah. I'm sitting here going, I better get it before someone else gets it
Mm-hmm.
before me.
Yes.
That too, right,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is a sign of weird thinking.
Yes.
So the whole awareness thing is so big. So how does someone turn that on so that you notice, oh my gosh, I'm going for this silly shell and it's supposed to be mine. Don't worry about it. How do
Right.
you turn
Right.
that on and make sure that that awareness is always with you?
It's just like we tune in to what we want to tune into.
Yes.
And so when you are dealing with your, with the finances or with anything and paying more attention of your behaviors and how you respond to things. And like the other day, I'll say, like I went to the store because I'm on a budget because I want to, and it's a friendly budget. And
Uh,
so because I want to get a home down here. And so there are some things that I want to do. And so, for instance, I went into the store and I'll use this and I'm very transparent. So I was like, man, I want this. And then I heard in my head, okay, well, you're doing A, B, and C. And so you don't have that to be able to do that. And so right there, that is where you can look at it that it's a lack, but here it is. It's a good thing because it's something good that is toward the end of what I'm reaching for, which is, for the home. So I automatically pulled myself back and was like, okay, SaVeda. And I stood in line in the aisle for a minute, battling with myself of should I get it or shouldn't I get it? And so to me, it was like I paid attention to myself and my mindset. And it was like, okay, is this a mindset of lack or is this a mindset of saying that, I want this home and I know that if I spend this, then I'm going to have to double up the next time or whatever the case may be to put it back. Because I can remember my grandmother was saying, if you take something away, then you're going to make sure that you have to put back twice as much of whatever it was because of the fact that you're trying to reach this goal. And so for
Mhm.
myself, I am always paying attention to my thoughts, and if they are negative, if they are, you know, positive. And just for instance, the other day getting out the bed on Monday, man, I had, my sister with the vision, sister girl, let it go and let's talk about it. And so I didn't have any clients on Monday that day. And the first thing when I had got up, it was like I heard this, thought in my head, this voice that said, oh, get back in the bed. Aren't you tired? And it was like just trying to groom me and just like baby me and you know what I mean, make me feel cuddly and to get back in the bed. So I sat there and I listened for a minute. And then I heard this voice say, well, you got things to do. And I jumped up. I said, oh, this is a lie. You trying to keep me in a, so I pay more attention to the voices that I hear. Like I know the difference of when I need to do A, B, and C. So it was like, okay, well, this voice here was trying to make me stay in the bed where it was comfortable because I have been teaching myself and training myself of not listening to the voice that, try to, do this and then keep me stuck. So I literally was like, nope, I jumped out the bed, and was like, I got to do this. And once I got myself going, you know, it was like, it was no holds barred for the rest of
Right.
the, so we just have to get past that, that voice and then resist it so that we can move forward, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. And it's really about listening to your voices and thinking which one is that true? That's what I always
Right.
ask myself.
Yes.
When I hear a sound in my head, is that true? Laura Barker says, I do love the bed though. have to admit, Laura, I'm right there with you. I do love to do
Yes,
it
me
too.
too. But guess what? When you have work to do, and when you're working on something, you can't allow the bed to keep
Mm,
you, down and say, it's comfortable in here. It is. And
yeah,
guess what? I'll get back in it when I'm done with the work. That's what I tell
yeah,
myself. And then you
yeah,
can just, you can comfort me all you want once I get the task done.
yeah. Coach Kerry in the chat, she's saying she asks herself, does that voice serve me?
Yes, yes.
I
And
love
if it
that. I
doesn't
love
serve,
that.
then you have to, it has to go, you know,
Exactly,
it has to go
exactly.
because there's no purpose there. And then, and the growth of what you expect is like if you don't attend to the flower, the garden is, it's not going to grow. So you always have to make sure because we have all kind of weeds and stones in our heads that would try to keep us, and it'll choke up things. So we have to I say I'm a gardener of my mind and of my heart, and I have to till it. And so if I don't stay on top of, because things will try to sneak up, especially if you have overcome some things. And a lot of times, the weeds will still try to come back up,
The weeds
so
are
you have to,
always coming.
it's
Those
always
weeds are
there
always coming. That's why you got to keep renewing your mind. It's never
daily.
over. It's
Right.
every day. It's every moment. Every
Yes.
moment. Well, I know
Yes.
that you have a free gift for our audience. So can you tell us about that? And I know you have a link as well.
Yes. You want me to drop the link inside
Yeah,
of the
would you?
chat?
That would be great.
Okay. All right. So my free gift is called Unconditional Love, How to Increase Your Happiness by Loving Without Reservations.
Mm.
And so, yes. And so that, and you can go right to
Mm-hmm.
www.swav2018.com.
So it's S.
W as in
Yeah.
Walter, A as in Apple, V as in Victor. So it stands for Sisters with a Vision.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. .com.
Yes.com.
And then there's a forward slash.
Well, if you're doing the
Oh, here,
HTTPS,
look, I got it.
yeah.
SWAV.com.
Yes.
Am I in the right place?
So here, because I know sometimes
Oh, this is nice. So
no
how do
on
I get to your free gift?
here, let me do it like this
Yeah, do it
because
like that.
sometimes with the HTTPS on Zoom, you have to put that. And so when you go onto my website and you just scroll down and you will see
Ah, here it is. I got
the
it.
gift.
Perfect. Okay, so it's SWAV 2018.com, and
Hmm.
that will get you there. And let me go ahead
Yes.
and put it in here so I got it. WAV. All right, perfect. Thank you
Yep.
so much. Right there. Download your free gift. Make sure I'm going to make sure the link goes in the chat so that you can click on it and that you'll be able to just click right there and pull it up and get your free gift. And I would love to invite you to join the conversation to all of you who are here with us today. So if you would like to be a part of our conversation, simply raise your hand, or if you are on the phone, unmute yourself and we'll open up your line. And in the meantime, while you're getting your questions into the queue, SaVeda, tell me about the friendly budget. I really liked that terminology. So tell
Hmm.
us, what is it? What do you mean by friendly budget?
Because most times people think budget, that they think something negative that it's um they don't have, and it's like, no, make it friendly for yourself, that you're saving for a good cause. And so my good cause is, for my down payment for the house for Sisters with a Vision, because my mission is I want to get young women that want to be homeowners. And so my very first, coaching client is my daughter. She's been with me since I actually started coaching. And so, and she pays me monthly. And so she's, like I said, my very first mission is at home. And so she wanted to save up for a home. And so I knew right when during COVID time, it was like this is going to be impossible right now because of the stuff that's going on. So I told her, I said, well, you know what, move back home. You know, her and her fiance, and she had the baby, and she just got married a couple of weeks ago. And so I'm grateful. So my very first ministry and teaching is my own children. And
Right.
so I had her to move back home, and I didn't charge her, you know, an arm and a leg. And I told her, I said, I know that if you would have been out and in an apartment and the way how the economy is right now and the inflation and, you know, landlords going up on their rent and all this, you wouldn't really be able to save for your home. And so the Lord prepared us, you know, basically for this. So I had her to move back. And I told her, I said, the very first lesson, you know, for you to be able to learn it at home. If you're going to make any mistakes, I'd rather for you to make it, you know, at home. And so her and her fiance and the baby, they live at, you know, at my home back in Niagara Falls, New York. They make sure they take care of everything that's there. Cause I'm like, I'm out, you know, you just let me know the big things if something happened, but this is y'all responsibility. Y'all want to learn how to be a homeowner, then guess what? I'm going to teach you.
Yeah,
And so,
exactly.
you know, from the dog and everything. So I left my two poodles at home. And I was like, because if you want that, these are the things that is different from owning and being a renter. You know, the landlord does everything, but when you are a homeowner, you have to
Hmm.
make sure you save up for emergencies, and you have to have all these different things. And you know, my house is paid for, so it's just the taxes and stuff like that. But they still have to pay the lights, the electricity, you know, do everything just like if they were on their own, you
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
so and teaching, and so um she told me, she said, Mom, she was like, you know, you have been the best teacher that I could possibly have. I tried to ponder off to another coach, and she told the lady, she said, no, she said, my mom has always from day one, you know, and I've been like that, like, yeah. So
Isn't
being
that
able
nice?
to have a friendly budget is just the way how you look at it, or just giving it a different name
I
so that
like the friendly budget. I
the
like
friendly
that. That's
budget.
a, and I think it's really important that we have one. So right here, this is a list of, hello, this is my budget. This is a list of all my bills, when they're due, what
Hmm.
balances I'm carrying. I don't know how I would be able to keep my life straight if I didn't have that and I didn't have a budget that worked toward that. So,
Yes.
if you think, oh, I'm just the money comes, great. But I know that people who have money know where every penny goes.
Yes.
So I
And
want to know where every penny's going.
yes, and they have so many different apps out right now. I believe the last time I was on here, uh, I can't remember the young lady's name, and she shared, I think it was called Really Bank or something like that.
Hmm.
And I looked into that, and then the app that I use, and it actually uh, shows you, like, you put over in your business account, then you have your spending account, and
Hmm.
you know, learning how to pay yourself, all that stuff. And then, you know, and then your bills, you know, this is
Yeah,
what comes out, like you said, monthly. And so
right.
you can keep track on what is coming out, and then what you have left over. So
Hmm.
normally what I have left over is, this is what I have for myself for the month. So I have to make sure that any habits that I had, like from before, when I was married, and when things were not good, I would do like Wilma and Betty. I didn't charge it, but I spent it. I went to the mall. I went and I got things that I didn't even need. I got stuff right now in that house there that still has tags on it. You know what I
Right,
mean? So being an emotional spender, and I had to learn not to be an emotional spender. You know, even if
right.
I wanted to, you know, go and like what I do with myself when I want to eat out something, I make sure that, you know, I probably do it once a week, but I cook everything at home. And if I want something special, then I have to make sure, okay, SaVeda, now you know this is all you have, you know what I mean, for yourself.
Yeah,
And
you have to
don't,
make it
yeah,
challenging. With
yes,
Amazon, it's so easy to overspend. Like, oh, I want that. Let me put it in my Amazon account. Oop, I got it. Next thing you know, I got a bill, and I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have bought that.
right,
Well, let me go
right,
ahead and open it up for our guests. I have a few people who have questions. And let me
yes,
start with the person in the 954-415. You have your line open, so I want to make sure 954-415. Your line is open. You're okay. I guess you're not there. Let me try the other person who's Mary Jane Charles. Mary Jane, go ahead.
Yes, good morning.
Good
This is
morning.
fabulous. And for those of us who've been, I'll speak for myself, up and down and all around on this topic, and you think, yeah, that's not me. And then you get a little further along because you've been in a state of denial. You're like, ay, ay, ay. And so, without going into the drama and the stories behind all this experience, right now, I did this just over this weekend. I got the cards, which they're going down and the credit's going up. Even though you might have a business account and you have your personal, check not only I made a spreadsheet, cards, the balance, check the interest rates and look at your limits.
yes,
So I had a business card, have a business card, and it's okay and it's in good shape. P.S. It's got a low limit, so I have to move some of my business expenses to another card if I'm not paying the full amount every month, because
mm-hmm,
that'll come back to bite you. So check not only
yes,
the interest, get really cheap. You can get
yes,
really cheap. It's not toward your loved ones or that, though they know how you are, but be cheap with the banks because they're really slick at this. They've got this down. And
mm-hmm,
your friendly little bank nearby might be an absolute thief. So don't disregard the big shots and keep your eye on the little guy because they're fee crazy. And what else? What else? The limits, the rates, just keep your eye on it. And I paid my auto renewal through online. Well, genius here, picked the wrong place, and it was somebody in England
oh,
who was
wow,
between the different places for North Carolina DMV, and I'm still trying to get him off my card. So just be watchful. There are boogeymen out there.
yes, yes. And, Mary Jane, it was something that you said about being cheap. I just told someone I don't even want to use that word. I say be more resourceful, you
That
know,
too. Yeah.
yes, be more resourceful and because then that word cheap, I'm like, I love deals.
Yes.
So, yes, I love
Me
deals.
too. I'm like
So,
secondhand rose. I love going and looking, and I'll skip all the way home. But
I think we all love deals. No matter how much money you have or how much money you
yes,
earn, everybody wants a deal.
yes, yes.
So, Mary
thank
Jane,
you.
thank you so much.
Thank
I
you, Mary
appreciate it.
Jane.
Your advice about credit cards and looking at interest rates. If you just, if I mean, can you? I don't even have to imagine. It is amazing to me that we allow banks to charge you 27%. What's the
Yeah,
difference between that and the mafia?
Right. It is
not
crazy.
much. Not
Not,
much.
I don't know if anyone is familiar with Premier. So that was my very first because I didn't have I never owned a charge card at all. And so this was a few years back when I very first got my first card. It was $300 limit, right? Because I was building and working on my credit score and my personal credit and stuff. And so and because I hadn't had that. So Premier, I think theirs is like maybe 30% or something
30%.
like that.
Yes.
And I was like, like you said, it's like, it's like the mafia.
Yeah.
And so I was like, Lord, do I close this thing down? But because I've had it for so long and I don't use it or whatever. So it was like, it's a trade. So you just leave it open and just, and leave it alone,
Right.
just
Don't use it.
don't use
But the
it.
fact that, so one of the things I learned was that you always want to keep your oldest credit card open
Open.
because
Yes.
that adds to your credit score,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
If your credit hasn't been around very long, your credit score is going to be lower. So if you have an
Right.
old card like SaVeda's saying that was 30%, leave it open, just stick it in a drawer and don't use it.
And don't use it.
Yeah.
I don't even look at it. I'm like, oh my, like, but I still have to pay a little monthly payment on it or whatever, but I don't even use that thing.
Right. And there's
Yeah.
free money available. There's zero interest credit cards. There's zero interest for 6 months at PayPal now.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll give you a credit limit. You just go in and boom, 6 months of interest-free payments.
Yes.
So there's
Yes.
lots of ways to get free money. And the banks that you were talking about, one of them was Relay Bank. Thank you to
Yes, really.
everybody in the
Yes. Thank
chat
you.
who was
Mm-hmm.
giving us that information. Relay Bank is one, and then I believe it was April who said she went with Blue Vine, which is another one. But if you just go in and put in business banks in Google, you'll come up with them. I'm using something that Deborah Morrison, my business financial coach, she's a financial planner for many
Mm-hmm.
years, and she has me on betterment.com. And that right now, the savings accounts are paying 4.75 savings, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also put money in there and have it grow through stocks and funds and things like that. So having that kind of a plan and having discipline, and I'm sure you say this too, paying yourself first,
First, yeah.
right?
See, I didn't even know, and that was something, Trish, I didn't even know that until I started dealing with, the finances, and learning and getting more educated and with it. And I didn't even know that. I would just be, like I said, I was like, woman Betty, spend, spend, spend. And then it
right.
was like, yeah,
The money
you have the
comes, and when
discipline.
you have it, you can buy your stuff. And when you don't have it, you're like, okay. But if
Mm-hmm.
you have paying yourself first, so automatically every time a paycheck goes in the bank, $250 comes out and goes into your savings, that's
Mm-hmm.
paying yourself first.
Yes. Yes.
And you'd be surprised. You think you don't have any money to save. When you do that, even
Mm-hmm.
$10, $50, you don't
Mm-hmm.
miss it. You notice it. You don't even notice it there. So paying yourself first, really important.
It's important, really
Yeah,
important. And
absolutely.
and what I've been doing now too is I made a post the other day, like I've been doing free analysis, 30-day analysis for those that want to see what is on their, credit report and how to get rid of, things and what you have to do. So like I literally sit down and do a whole credit analysis with someone to reach, reconstruct their finances and to get rid of the late payments and all of that stuff that will hinder someone from moving forward. And this was something that even with business credit, I didn't have my business set up properly, and so I was missing out on stuff because of the ignorance, the lack of knowledge. And so once I began to make these tweaks just
Hmm.
by little things, making sure I had my business telephone number, making sure. So what I tell people, if you're in business and you want to work simultaneously with fixing your personal credit and your business credit, so working simultaneously and doing it, because when you have a good business credit score, you can get those business cards. But some places, you have to look at the personal and the business, so working side by side. And that's what I've been helping people with. So I've been doing 30-day free credit analysis as well.
Great, great. So how can people get in touch with you if that's something you're doing?
Yes. So I'm going to put my business number right here inside of the chat box. It's 800-420-2826. And then also, if anyone is interested, you can go right to my calendar link as well too. And I'll put that in there. And
Did I get the number right? 800-420-2826. Yes, perfect.
yes,
And if
yes,
SaVeda's offering you a free credit analysis, here's the deal. You may be sitting there going, oh, I don't really have all that much, and I don't want to show her my debt, and I'm a little embarrassed about it. I have 3 words for you. Get over yourself.
yes,
SaVeda will keep it confidential. It would be between the two of you. And look, you can keep going the way you're going and hold on and think, okay, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to figure out a friendly budget. Or you can call a friendly person who knows what she's talking about and have it handled. So
yes.
reach out to SaVeda. Let me go ahead and go to Laura Barker. Good morning, Laura Barker. How are you
Good
today?
morning. I'm fantastic. And Savita, I am loving every word you're dropping, but I have to say this. Um, I love all the practical tips, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's the mindset that really
Yes.
gets my attention. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, I put this in the chat. I have never thought of my budget as friendly. So that is a mindset shift for me this morning. And I just want to thank you for that. But I also want to ask you, what
Yes.
would you say for yourself has been the biggest mindset shift you had to make? And also follow that up with what is the biggest mindset shift that you see your clients need to make?
Ooh, good question.
Yes. So for myself, like I said, everything we do it takes baby steps. And every day, I am speaking things that come to me and, like the friendly budget, because one day I was like, okay, this is not, like you said, this is not friendly here when you're dealing with debt, or when you're having the, the lack of
Yes,
different things. And so being able to transform your mind is basically, I tell people for myself, like I said, I meditate and I pray. And so my mind shift came from me being in prayer, and then I'll wait for, something to happen to, for the universe, for God to show me what I need to do next. And 9 out of 10, if I wait a few minutes or a day or two, it'll come to me, and he'll show me. And then it's like, oh man, why didn't I know that back then? But because I wasn't ready. And so when you are open to change, guess what? It will come. So how they say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And
absolutely.
so that was me. It was like, okay, I'm tired of going through this. What do I need to do to get from out of this? And just because we have, our belief system and all of that, I needed to change what I had believed about myself. So the other day, I'll use this for an example, my son. So he's one of my clients. And so he said something like, oh, I don't care about money and this and that and the other, and how he is. And so I asked him, I said, when you don't have it, how does that make you feel?
Mm,
And he said, well, you know, I don't like not having it because I can't do what I need to do. I said, so then that lets you know right there, when you have money, that's why when I said about the scripture about having the lack of money, is the root of all evil, or the love of money. But when you lack it, it don't make you feel good. You know what I
Right.
mean? You can't
yeah,
do what you need to do. But when you have it, how does it make you feel? It makes me feel good because then I can do the things that I need to do. Well, let's stay in that vibration right there of it feels good when I have it. And so then it keeps yourself open for it to flow in, and then not only that, it was like, okay, if I have this and this is what I have and I have to spend it for it to come back. So he gave me what I needed to take care of the bills.
Yes.
And then so a lot of us we be thinking, okay, well, if I let this go, it may not come back. No, you have to let it go for it to come back.
Right.
Because
Yep.
money is a tool.
Absolutely. And you
Yes.
know, I find too that you have to be willing to get quiet
Mm-hmm.
to be able to hear the guidance, right? You have to
Yes.
be open to it. And so meditation, I find to be the key, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really get my mind quiet and let that sink in. And it sounds like that's a tool that you use with your clients as well. I'm
Yes.
guessing that you can't help but get into the mindset conversation.
You have to.
Right?
And a lot of it is, you know, from the young people that I've been talking to is, you know, how they like one of the young ladies, I just made her an offer. And I've been talking to her probably for about 6 or 7 months. And so I just finally made her an offer. And so she accepted the offer. And so she said, Miss SaVeda, she said, every time when I talk to you, you just always, you know, have the things to say, because I stay in prayer most of the time. I stay in prayer, and part of prayer is meditation. And so being able, like you said, to not be clogged up. I like you know how when you're constipated and you can't move your bowels, you have to take some kind of medicine to release yourself. Well, my medicine is prayer. And so when I'm clogged up, I'm like, okay, Lord, I need to find out what is it spiritually, and I need a spiritual cleansing, and so that I can get free. And so being able to hear from God, the universe, or whoever you're praying to be able to hear clearly, you have to get rid of all the mess, and whatever the mess is, you know, for you to be able to hear freely, you know, to be able to receive. And so, like you said, meditation is awesome, and I love it.
Real quick, and I'll shut up. But let me just say this: I get up in the morning, I meditate, and life is good. I'm doing great. But of course, during the day, life catches up, and you get busy, and blah blah blah. Right? We stop paying attention to our thoughts, and we can get off track. Right. I have literally set an alarm on my phone for 2 times during the day, and all it says is check in with your thoughts. Right? Because I forget. Anyway, thank you for all you're doing and all you're offering. I just love it all. Thank you.
You are welcome. Now, you know, there's something that you said. Now, this has happened to me a couple of years ago when I was back at home. And my son and my daughter, they all still live at home. And so I told everyone, before they come out their room, you need to check yourself from head to toe, and to see what type of mood you are in, where you're at, what your thoughts are saying, deal with before you come out the room. Because if you're, you know how sometimes you'll wake up and you might feel crappy, or you feel whatever. And sometimes you can wake up and a thought be like, oh, I feel down today. Well, before you even leave out your room, guess what? Deal with yourself before coming out. And so that's what I do. Is like I can lay in my bed and I'll just sit there and I'm like, okay, how am I feeling today? And if anything come to me that is not, you know, good, I'm like, I have to change that before I even start my day.
Yeah, so I have to address it.
Yes, I have to. I literally, before I have to look at myself from head to toe, and then am I agreeing with how I feel? And so if my thoughts say, well, you know, you're a little depressed today, or you're a little down. No, I'm not. Why am I depressed? You know, so I'll think, well, why am I depressed? Well, why am I down? And then I have to switch the light on in myself and say, okay, you know, this is that, and I'll deal with it, and I'll let it go before I start my day. Because when I get before people, I don't want to give people the energy that is not good. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that I'm, you know, in a good place, in a good space to be able to share with other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me go to Peg Duchesne, and then I have Stacy Clark. Peg Duchesne, good morning.
Good morning again, SaVeda. I
good morning.
Cannot help but think about how you could capitalize on the first 4 letters of your name. You could say, we start with save, or something like that in your moniker. But what a great conversation this morning. And so many people have talked about the book, Richest Man in Babylon. And that's
Yeah.
such a great book that'll help change your mindset about money. Thank you for the free gift. I've downloaded the book, and I'm looking forward to taking advantage of the credit analysis that you offer. And I know we're top of the hour and Stacy wants to go next, so I will yield my time. But thanks for all you provided. And just want to say, think about what you can do with that. We start with the save or something like that, because I think your name would lend itself to that messaging.
And it's so funny.
Kind of thing.
Thank you so much. My former pastor used to call me Save, and he was, because now when you spell my name, it's actually SaVeda. And for whatever reason, when I was young, when I learned how to cursive write, I stopped capitalizing my name. My dad would get upset with me. And so I just literally said I had to change that back and put that capital V in there. But yes, Save. I hear you. So I definitely will work on that one.
I love it.
Thanks for your gift and what you did today.
You're welcome. Thank you for tuning in.
All right, Stacy Clark, I'm so glad you still hung out and waited for us to get to your question. How are you this morning?
I'm fantastic, and thank you for the opportunity. So first I want to say thank you to Peg for being so considerate, and also for sharing her great ideas. I'm an idea person, so I love to hear other ideas. I love it. I could go down deep rabbit holes. Anyway, what I did want to share today was simply this. I wanted to say, because there are many people who, when I saw, it's about prayer, I said, well, that's my thing. You know, I'm a believer, and I understand the process and the power of connecting with God as I see it and as I believe. But absolutely, just in general, knowing that there is something greater than yourself, it just changes your mindset about everything in life. So what I wanted to share, because there are some people who are going to hear what you're sharing and what you teach, and they say, well, you use biblical principles. So I want to say this, as someone who absolutely uses the Bible as my foundation for life and the things that I believe in, and I also am open to learning. I'm an insatiable learner about all things, but my foundation and my principles is absolutely based on the Bible and God's word. I want to share that they are principles that are universal and that are powerful and that work regardless of what you believe in. So just like I am open to knowing my foundation, I'm open to educating myself and being aware about other things. I just want to say to anyone who's listening who might say, well, that's not what I believe, or that's not what I want to pursue. I have to say, and I'm a systems expert, so I believe everything is or should be a system. And the Bible is a foundation, a set of principles, a set of systems that can be used for your life, your business, and everything and anything you pursue. So I simply want to encourage people to have an open mind and to realize that there absolutely is power, not only in prayer, but in the principles that are given. And they work even if you don't believe in God, although we all want to see you have the fullness of what that brings to your life and your experience. Even if that's not where you are right now, please don't dismiss it, because there are many people in this world who absolutely benefit from the principles in the Word of God, in the Bible, even if they don't yet believe. So I don't want you to say no and lose that opportunity to understand and benefit from that. God bless you. Thank you so much. And as always, be aligned, be productive, and be maximized. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. That is so powerful, Stacy. And that is so true. And that's my foundation, is I put him first. And it may take some time for things, for a breakthrough, but because I'm doing it the way I feel that he's leading me and guiding me, and I don't take away, from him, So I appreciate you saying that. Very powerful. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Stacy. You're absolutely right. Foundational, ancient foundational principles, whether you read them in the Bible, in the Torah, in the Quran, those ancient principles that infuse you with faith. Because, SaVeda, let's face it, if you don't have faith, you're not going to be able to get through. Faith in yourself, faith in other people, faith in your higher power, all of that gets you where you want to go.
And the beauty, yes, so much. And that's why I was saying, women in unity. So if you read Psalms 133, in verse 1, it talks about, unity and us being together in unity. And this is what we're doing here is, being on one accord, being, in one mindset to be able to help one another. And I shared the reason I do one-on-one interviews with people is because I want to get to know you. It's not about selling anything. I just want to get to know you as a person, as an individual, and to see how I can help you, or, we help one another, even if it's collaborating in business. But I need to know man's heart, because once again, you want to know who you have. And when I read, and I look back at certain characters in the Bible, I'm like, we pick the things, the people, but sometimes we don't know the person, we don't know their intentions, we don't know their thoughts and all that. So with me, I'm like, I want to make sure that the person that, I'm with or doing business with is, that they're not, shady or scammy or any of those things, because that's not me. So you want to make sure, it's just like, that's how we refer one another, is because you get to know the person, you have sat in their presence, and you have taken the time to get to know them. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, if I invite you to my home for dinner, I'm not going to serve you, quail. I don't eat quail, but I'm going to, I don't eat pheasants and all of that stuff, but what I will serve you is what what do you eat? So I want to know, what do you like? And that's what I'm going to prepare for you. You know what I mean? So, and I look at it like that, is that being able to, prepare, a meal, for a person, and spiritually, and to serve them to my best of my ability, and to make sure that, when I serve them, that they want to come back for more, because when I serve in love.
Absolutely, absolutely. SaVeda Beswick, you are the best. I want to remind everybody, let's renew our mindset around money. Let's make sure we have a friendly budget. Make sure we pay ourselves first. Work on your credit simultaneously through both personal credit repair and building your business credit. And I really urge you to reach out to SaVeda for a 30-day credit analysis to identify the areas where you can improve your credit and your finances. Hey, if she finds $1, isn't it worth it? Right? If she gets you out of debt, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be worth it? So be sure to go to SaVeda. The 800 number is in the chat. And also pick up for free her free Unconditional Love ebook. SaVeda, thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here and to share, what I felt that was on my heart. Is, for those that may be dealing with, financial issues or whatever it may be. So I'm here, and I'm grateful.
Well, thank you all. And thank you for being with us on this Wow Wednesday. Go out and make it a Wow Wednesday, because when you leave that room, you want to be right with yourself and the world.
Yes.
So thank you, everybody, for being with us. I hope you have a fantastic Wow Wednesday. Take care, everybody.
Take care. God bless everyone.
Have a great day.